In this video, I'm going to show you everything that Gemini can do inside your everyday Gmail inbox. When it comes to our inbox, that is the one thing a lot of us wish that we could just delegate and not have to deal with. Gemini in Gmail is built to handle all the everyday noise while still highlighting important tasks. Today I'm covering 5 things: drafting and polishing everyday messages, catching up with AI summaries, scheduling things directly from an email, finding information without digging, and automating recurring tasks with something called Workspace Studio. Let's get into it. So I wanted to clarify on pricing plans before we begin. Google Gemini on its own is free to use. However, if you want to use it integrated into your Google Workspace, you will need a paid Google AI plan. So there are currently 3 plans you can choose from. There's the Google AI Plus plan, which is what I have, and it's 400 gigabytes of storage alongside with the use of Gemini. There's the Google AI Pro plan, which is $20 a month for 5 terabyte storage. And then finally, there's the Google AI Ultra, which is $100 a month for starting at 20 terabytes of storage. So in order to follow along with this video, start at least with the Google AI Plus so that you can see all the features that I'm using. And now I'm going to go into my inbox. So as a lot of you know, this is what the Gmail inbox looks like. There's a place for you to create your email, to access your inbox. So this is something new that's still being rolled out by Google. It's called AI Inbox, and it's, as you can see here, still in beta. But it's basically a place that can summarize some of the topics that you have talked about via email and also gives you specific actions and to-do lists. For example, right here it says suggested to do, verify email for Loudoun County government. So I recently tried to access the Loudoun County government career site, and it's asking me to verify my email address. And then finally, there was also someone who was asking me to confirm my zip code for a drywall repair. So this is a nice to have where if you have like 30, 40 emails to go through and you're not sure which needs actions and which are just something that you need to read, this is a good place to come and look at that and then immediately reply and view to those emails. Finally, if you scroll down, you'll see topics to catch up on, and this is where it's not specific actions, it's just some things that you need to be aware about. So for me, it's childcare, for example. I have signed up for an appointment for my daughter, and then there's, travel that I have coming up. So it says like, hey, FYI, you're traveling to Malaysia in November. So here is the information on it. And then finally also a finance section. So it's telling me when I got paid, when my bills are available, and also when certain transfers from my bank are happening, and also mortgage statements and stuff like that. Now there's 2 ways you can access Google Gemini in your email. The first way is over here. If you select this kind of like star icon and it says Ask Gemini. And then the other way is within your email itself. So if you look here at the bottom, you'll see a pencil icon with a star on it and it says Help Me Write. So we're going to look and use both of those ways today. So I'm going to start within the email itself. As you can see, this is going to be a brand new email. I have not written anything yet. You can always start off with a prompt to get your creative juices flowing. So for example, right here, I have write a message to my landlord letting him know the dishwasher has been leaking for 2 days and asking when someone can look at it. So if you just press enter, Google Gemini is now going to go ahead and write an email for you. And it says here, hi, and then it has a place for you to include the name of the landlord. Good morning, I'm writing to let you know that the dishwasher in the apartment has been leaking for the past 2 days. Can you please let me know when someone might be available to come take a look at it? I want to make sure the issues is addressed before it causes any damage. Thank you for your help. And then let's say the landlord responds and says like, can I come in today evening? Obviously, this is an emergency, so you shouldn't be like, oh, today evening I'm not free. Can we do tomorrow? But let's say if it was something less urgent, you could say, Google Gemini, can you look at my calendar and see what days I have available? Give me 3 available time and dates that I can provide to my landlord. And you'll see how I can do that shortly in another section of this video. Now, let's say this is not the email you're looking for. Let's say you want a different tone. You can describe your changes again, as I mentioned, or you could also select polish right here, and it can polish up the email again for you. And it also has the option to formalize the email. So let's say if you felt like this was not formal enough, you can do that. So if I select formal right now, you'll see, "Dear so-and-so, the dishwasher in the apartment has been leaking for the past 2 days. Can you please confirm when someone will be available to inspect and repair it? I would like to resolve these issues promptly to prevent any potential damage." And then the last option is friendly. Let's say you're like, that's too stern. Let's do something friendly. And then you can see here, "I hope you had a wonderful week. Just wanted to let you know that our dishwasher has been leaking a little bit over the last couple of days. When you have a moment, could you please let me know when someone might be able to pop by and take a look?" Notice how they use the word pop by, so it's like very casual. "I'd love to get this sorted quickly just to make sure we keep everything in great shape. Thank you so much for your help with this. I really appreciate it." And then finally, it also has the option to shorten something for you. So let's say this email is too long, just select shorten, and it can do that for you. "Hi, so-and-so, our dishwasher has been leaking. Can you please let me know when someone might be able to come by and take a look at it?" And then it also gives you the option to undo. Let's say you're like, "You know what? I don't like these changes. I like the first one." Just keep selecting undo and you can go back to the first or second email that you like. This works not only on the emails that Gemini has generated, it can also be an email that you wrote yourself and then you're like, "I don't like this. Let me polish it." So let's try that out. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the initially generated Gemini email for an email I wrote myself. So here I have a request for an FSA claim. I need receipts in order to process an FSA claim from a clinic. So I say, "Good afternoon. I've visited Caring Health Urgent Care 3 times this year and need the statements for those visits in order to process it with the FSA. I only have receipts and they do not suffice as they do not meet the following criteria." And then I provided the criteria. So now I can either, describe the changes I would like more in detail here, or I could select polish, formalize, friendly, or shorten. So I'm going to go ahead and select polish. And you can see Gemini is doing its thing and it went ahead and updated my existing email. So now this looks a little bit better, like better structure. It included some numerical bullets for me and then provided an action request at the bottom and also my closing "Thank you, Judith." The next thing you can do with Google Gemini is catch up on long email threads using summaries. And I'm sure a lot of you have been here. You look at a long email thread with probably around like 10 plus replies and you do not know if something needs an action from you or you need to be aware of specific information from that email thread. There's 2 ways you can look into summarizing and finding details. The first way is by selecting the summarize this email button here at the top. So as you can see here, an AI overview has been created and it includes 2 bullets. So just a bit of context on this email. As you can see here, the subject line is roof repair. And this was an ongoing conversation I had with a roofing company in the area to fix my roof. And as you can see here with the first bullet, it started off with me inquiring about warranty coverages and post-installation issues with my roof. And then the second bullet provides updates about the issues. So it says here the person agreed that the work was incomplete and they've sent out a crew again to come back to rectify the issues. While this is a great summary, it's still not detailed enough for me to find out what exactly happened. And that's where you can go to Gemini right here and select it. And you can see summarize this email in more detail. What can Gemini do in Gmail and list action items from this email? So I'm going to go ahead and start with the first one, summarize this email in more detail. All right, so as you can see here, it came back with full bullets that provide more details. So it says, "I reported concerns about PVC board splits. The person acknowledged the issues and committed to rectifying all contract discrepancies with the original technician. The project manager coordinated the return of the roofing crew to address the identified work items. And then finally, they finalized the remediation of the disputed repairs." And then here you can even ask more information like, when exactly did the crew came? How much did I pay for this? Does this email require any replies from me? So let's try that. And it says here, based on the thread, the email does not require a reply from you. The last message in the thread was from so-and-so from the company on June 9, 2026, thanking you for an update following the crew's scheduled visit on June 4th to fix the remaining issues. Since then, there have been no further questions or requests from their side. So again, remember, you can do this with any of the emails in your inbox. You can either use the summarize button that you would see here initially, or you can go in more detail asking for action items or more summaries in the Gemini button here on the right with the sidebar. All right, so the next feature I'm going to talk about is how to schedule appointments without having to switch apps. Initially in the past, what I've always done is just pull up my Google Calendar, look at what available time and dates I have, and then go back to Gmail to respond to the person. But now with Gemini built in your inbox, it can basically coordinate and find information across all the apps. So for example, here I have an email about a drywall repair. The contractor basically asked me if I'm free Friday, June 10th at 12 p.m. So obviously that was a long time ago, so I missed the initial email asking me this. So what I can do now is select Gemini again, select a new conversation, so it's showing stuff from the older one. So always make sure you select new conversation for a new email that you're working on. And then go down here and type the following. I missed the initial calendar suggestion from this email. Can you give me 3 dates and times from my calendar to schedule the fix? I'm going to go ahead and press enter. And now it came back with a couple of times for me to choose from. So it's saying that I'm free July 15, 2 to 4 p.m. There's also 2 other options provided, July 16 and July 17. It says reply yes to schedule the event for Wednesday, July 15, 2 to 4 p.m. or let me know if you prefer another time. So this is where you can say, go ahead, I like July 15, please write me up an email draft that I can send. So we're now in section 4, finding information and creating documents. In this example of finding information, I was curious about when my booster seat for my child is coming from Amazon. So I asked, when is the Chico Bento booster I ordered on Amazon arriving? And then it responded back, the Chico Bento booster seat you ordered was delivered on July 10, 2026. According to the delivery notification, the package was left near your front door or porch. And if you want to find that specific email, just hover over the number and you can see the email there, or you can even select source right here. Another example for finding information is looking up flight details. So what I have right here, check my inbox, when in November are we flying to Malaysia? So I'm going to go ahead and press enter. And Gemini came back with the following, you're flying to Malaysia on November 6. Here are the flight details. And again, you can hover over the numbers to find the email with more specific information. Now this is pretty cool. But what if I want a more integrated action item, specifically creating a Google Doc for me? So I'm going to ask Gemini to create a packing list for me in a Google Doc formatted as a checklist titled Malaysia Trip Packing List in my Google Drive. Alright, so Gemini said it has created the packing list for me in my Google Drive, and this is what it looks like. I like how it added a title and also headings, and it followed the checkbox request that I provided. So this is really nice. I can go ahead and check it off as I pack. And again, this is just the tip of the iceberg of what you can do with creating documents. So let's say you're using Google for your business. This can be really helpful because if someone's asking you for a spreadsheet with specific information, you can go ahead there and then and ask Gemini, hey, can you please create this spreadsheet for me? Open the link, review it, and then copy the link and include it in your response to the person. All right, so we're now in section 5, which is automating the repetitive stuff. And this section in particular has been a huge game changer for me because like a lot of people, I have a lot of unread emails in my inbox. So you can see here I have 47 emails to go through. And this step in particular has helped me automate and reduce the amount of noise that's in my inbox. A lot of us have emails in our inbox that are split up into 2 parts. The first part is just basic recurring emails that are just letting us know if a bill was automatically paid, a delivery has arrived, and stuff like that. The second part are critical emails that do require our attention and time, and that's the one that we want highlighted in our inbox. So how do we tune out the emails from the first section? Now, if you go to your inbox and select Google Studio, you'll see something that looks like this where it says Flows, Discover, and Activity. I'm going to go ahead and select Do More in Studio. So this workspace studio was created by Google to help you automate your work across the whole workspace like Google Calendar, Gmail, and your Google Drive. So you do not need to use this studio only with your Gmail. You can use it in other parts of your Google workspace. But basically, you can create automated workflows and it gives you ideas of what you can create right here. So for example, you can label emails with action items, notify me about emails from key people, create tasks when I get emails with bills, and then also stuff like notify me of urgent emails. And it also shows you the icons, so the apps that it used for each workflow. Now I'm going to show you how you can create a workflow that automatically reads an email as read. So to do that, just select the plus icon right here to select new flow. And then what you're going to do is select when I get an email. Now for this example, I'm using these Xfinity monthly emails that I get letting me know that my bill statement is available to view online. And again, you can always go into these websites and just update your notifications. But let's say you just want to have everything in Google, you can also do that. So what you'll want to do is copy the email address that is used for that automated email, go back to Flow, and then select specific email. And you'll want to include that email right here. So you're basically saying whenever I get an email from this email address, and then now you'll want to include specific words that email include. And the reason why you want to do this, let's say Xfinity sent you an email about the price increasing for your plan. Obviously, you do not want to miss that email, right? You just want the emails that say your bill statement is available to view online to be marked as read. So make sure you copy those keywords and include it into your flow. So that way the workflow knows not to mark all emails from Xfinity as read, only the ones that include these following words. Now the next thing you will want to do is select an action. So you're going to choose a step, and then I'm going to scroll down right here and select mark as read. So essentially you're just saying whenever I get an email from this email address with the following keywords, I want it marked as read. And then I'm going to select turn on. And now you can just name your flow. Make sure to include keywords that you'll remember it by. So I'm just going to say Xfinity billing read and select rename. And now it's saying you can test run the flow. What I'm going to do is go back here and mark this email again as unread so that we can test whether it works or not. And then I'm going to go back to the workflow and select test run. I'm just going to go ahead and select start right here, and we'll test run and see if it works. So you can see it highlighted the latest email that you got. So now it's going to go ahead and push it through the workflow. All right, so it says the run has been completed. So I'm going to go back here to my inbox to check, and yes, it has been marked as read. Sometimes you might need to refresh your Gmail in order to see if it works or not. So make sure to do that too. And also the Studio sidebar right here gives you a preview of the flows you have in Gmail, which is pretty cool. So you can also see activity. So like when exactly did a test run? So if you select the drop down right here, it'll show you what emails were marked as unread. That way, if you're concerned about something important being marked as read, you can always come here to review it. Now here's another flow that I had created. It is for all my Amazon orders, which, you know, that's the delivery notification that it's on the way. You have just ordered something. I have tried going into Amazon to mute those notifications via email, but it doesn't work. Amazon doesn't give that option. So I have a workflow for that right here, which I included the email. I didn't really include any keywords here because a lot of the Amazon emails that I get are already automated emails for orders. So I just left this one blanked, and then finally step 2, mark as read. And again, this is just also tip of the iceberg of what you can create in Google Studio. I'm going to make another video on the Google Workspace Studio so that I can go into more detail on the things that you can do here and how you can use it across your Google Workspace. And that's it. That's how you can use Google Gemini in your Gmail inbox. Test out some of the features that we looked through today and see which one you like best. I highly recommend messing around with the Workspace Studio because you can automate all kinds of emails there and reduce inbox burnout. If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing to my channel. I post weekly videos breaking down AI tools and concepts in plain English. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.